like you will win a third term. Your campaign's like your family. Crash and burn, including the violence will keep the maggot up and quiet. Resist me? That's right. Watch you step behind the gym, I'll be standing by. See how tough you are against the 45. I should have hoped for your whole party. Bigger than the one I blew because I'm so money. Let I go one bone on money. I'm gonna smash you, Judge. I got all the best cognition with all the top grammar. I'm not a little girl's shoulders, so you can't touch this MC stammer. You're a disaster, exciting hysteria. You say I'm selling hate in America, you're selling hate in America. Like with Hillary, the people aren't swayed. Just Barack's shadow, and I don't really like the shade. The pain of losing loved ones is something I have seen. So I know how you must have felt when they killed Jeffrey Epstein. Right there, she stayed for you. You should send your love letters for Kim Jong-un. You're arresting him. Nothing got just real. But you didn't even really write the art of the deal. But you tapped into the rage, read Mad Hatters. Well, let me tell you, Trump, a wise lesson. I don't want to defund no police. I picked the DA for my VP. I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist. I'm just an old ass man with some decency. No matter what you're trying to say, global warming ain't case. You pulled out a parachute, should have pulled out a stormy day. I ain't sleepy, I'm tired. If you got no trouble, you're fine. The only thing getting fired on my watch is tear gas from law enforcement. I'll keep America great. You unleash a defund. Keep America like Portland. Ain't nothing on a TV. No person, woman, man, camera, TV. They impeach me. I still walked out of D.C. looking peachy. You got the sloppy Joe, but no beef. The only white privilege I see in those teeth. If you teach your son anything to do about life, like there's no hunting season for your dead brother's wife. You and your mask and your typewriter shades and your remote. You're over, forget it, not coming. Like I tell criminals, Joe, stop running. Was Breonna Taylor running? You dog whistling fool. I think your daddy would finally be proud of you. He was a racist asshole too. SOTIsraelites. What's this malarkey? Oh, you She ran it and you'll end up in jailhouse. I'll take it down like a mule and give a mailbox. From all your wives to the SATs, everything you ever did, you just had to cheat. Cause you're too insecure to even look like a loser. You're the worst damn Republicans is Herbert Hoover. When you scooped up a sycophantic homophobe loser, became the Constitution's domestic abuser. 200,000 deaths lying at your door. You think they're suckers like McCain in the Marine Corps. Sometimes I can't tell for which side you're rooting. When we go high, you go down on poop. Truth is, you're scared to lose. You got nothing in the bank that I owe you.
Alright. That's it on that. They're gonna start cussing and stuff. Shalom. Derek getting here. Got the other brother coming. First of all, Salakia for yesterday. Had some stuff going on. I ended up trying to take me a nap before the show and fell asleep. Talking about like Leo Santa Cruz. And my phone was on silent. Brothers couldn't wake me up, so that's what happened. Got 2 jobs. I'm in school and all that stuff. So, but Salakia again for that. But we're here to make it up. So, which I guess it still works out because we was talking about the election anyway, and what's today? The day of the election. So, what better time to talk about it? So, if you have any family members that are about to go stand in line because they just got off work, send this to them. So maybe they'll change their mind and just sit back and watch and see what happens like the rest of us. So, as usual, what you'll need for this class is your notepad, your pen, Apocrypha, Bible, or both, if you have both at the same time. Strong's Concordance and the Cruden's Apocrypha Concordance. All right. Oh, that's good. Okay. So, basically, as we all know, the election is coming up. The Bible basically says many different things about what we are supposed to do and not supposed to do when it comes to elections. You know what I'm saying? Basically, the type of person that we're supposed to elect, if we are electing somebody to be over us, and all that type of stuff is all specified in the book. So, if we are trying to come back to our law, statutes, and commandments, there's certain things that we're supposed to do when it comes to electing officials and all that type of stuff. Certain people, certain requirements that they're supposed to have. If they don't have these requirements, we're not supposed to vote for them. So we're gonna go over a little bit of that stuff today, and even talk about why America wants us to vote so much. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure that a lot of you have seen, especially in this election, probably more than any election I've seen since I was really paying attention to them, even more than the Barack one. They've been really trying to get the black vote. I guess with Barack, they knew people that were quote unquote black were gonna vote because he looked like us. But in this election, they were damn near begging for the black vote, quote unquote, on both sides. And the reason why, in case a lot of you haven't realized it, is because they simply they need us to pad votes. You know what I'm saying? Hey, shalom to the brother. Man, trying to eat. but um, but brothers and sisters basically end up trying to vote. Brothers and sisters end up trying to vote um because people basically like don't understand that they only use quote unquote blacks, Hispanics, and natives to pad votes in certain states. What the big thing is that they need to vote is the electoral college. So hold on, y'all, just a second. Hold on, just a second. Just. All right, sorry about that. But yeah, so a lot of our people don't understand that they use us to pad votes, and the way that they're using us to pad these votes is basically by making us, all get together and vote for a certain person that they want us to vote for. It's supposed to give them a certain amount of votes in the electoral college, which will allow their candidate to win, right? The electoral college is what matters. And we're going to go over all of that stuff today. So we have to understand the agenda, you know what I'm saying, of both sides, and what it is that they try to do, so that we can see why it is that we tell people not to do certain things instead of just saying don't do it. Because to them it's like you're saying, hey, don't vote because you guys, like, Most High never said to vote for the best of, the better of the two evils. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you have to tell them more than that, because then they start getting into things like, well, you know, what about the country? There's certain things that we need to do for ourselves. There's certain people with pre-existing conditions and this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? So they start trying to put you in a box where it's like you start feeling bad for certain situations, and it makes you want to get out there and do something. So we have to understand that this is a tactic that they use. They meaning the media and the powers that be, to get our people to vote. And it started with the voting rights movement. You know what I'm saying? The civil rights movement in the 50s and the 60s, which eventually involved Martin Luther King, and what happened after that. It really started during the after the First World War, I believe. But after that, or the Second World War, one of them. But after that, we started really wanting to vote. You know what I'm saying? Because we felt like it was going to change our condition, which it didn't really do much of that. But the only thing that they do now is basically give us the illusion that we're doing something. They put things on the ballot that may help us in certain situations, and other things on the ballot that don't have nothing to do with us, which is most of the things, right? But the things that may help us is what they put out in the media to make you think, well, this candidate is going to give you this, and this candidate is not going to give you this, or this candidate is going to give you this, and this candidate is going to give you this. So these are the things we have to keep in mind at all times. And remember, so we're going to go over all of that today, you know what I'm saying, in broad little scope, and try to get it over with as quick as possible. So without further ado, give me Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 10. Hold up, let me unmute y'all, because both of y'all are muted over there. Derek, you got to unmute yourself, because you muted yourself.
Right.
All right, Ezekiel 3 and 10, who got it?
Con. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, and verse 10. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I speak unto thee receive in thine heart, and
Mm-hmm.
hear with thine
Keep going. And read with
tongue.
some power, bro.
Con,
Don't be boring today. It's daytime right now.
select. Verse 11, and go, get thee to them of the captivity unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and let them, and tell them, thus saith the Lord God, whether they hear or whether they forbear.
Right? So this is what we have to do, right? You know, a lot of your family members not gonna listen to you when you say certain things, but you still have to tell them. You know what I'm saying? That's our whole job. It's just to make things known. They can think on it and ponder on it upon themselves in their own time and decide whether they're gonna listen to what you said or not, or look it up or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If they decide not to do that, it's on them. But the blood's off your hands. That's all we're trying to do, right? Keep our hands clean in the eyes of the Most High. So keep going.
Verse 12, then the Spirit took hold.
Slacky, read 11 again.
Uh, Book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, and verse 11, and go, get thee to them of the captivity.
So our job is to go and get to them of the captivity, right? All of the people who are of the captivity, whether they hear or forbear. So give me Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 2. All right. And Derek, you go to Sirach chapter 17 and verse 17.
You said Isaiah chapter 1, verse 2.
Yeah.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 2. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for Yahweh have spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me.
Right. So they have nourished and raised up children and they've rebelled against them, right? That's the Most High. How have we rebelled against them? One of the ways is, trying to put other people over us, contrary to what he told us in the rules and the guidelines that he gave us in the scriptures, right? In the law of Moses. So these are things that we have to keep in mind at all times, especially when we're trying to come back to these law, statutes, and commandments. Because I know a lot of y'all, probably not you guys specifically, but a lot of people in the truth, they go vote behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Because they think it's actually going to help them in America and all that type of stuff. I know they did because I got messages from my family members that aren't in the truth but know about me. They telling me that people at the polls was at fringes. They seen brothers at the polls with fringes, sisters at the polls with fringes. I guess because y'all wearing the fringes out there, y'all thinking ain't nobody else gonna be out here with the fringes on. Because you already know you're not supposed to be voting. So that's what happened. So I know that there's people that went and did that. So you know, we just have to keep these things in mind and keep this information out there because a lot of our people are going to be trying to do these things. If this isn't the last election, the next one is going to be worse than this one. It's going to get worse every time, right? And it's not going to be too many of these left. We probably got, if this isn't the last election, we probably got 3 more max. And that's a maximum. You understand me? I really say probably about 2. If this ain't the last one, we got 2 more after this. But max. But I'm saying, we just have to keep these things in mind. Read verse 3.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner,
Right?
and the ass his master's crib.
Right? So the ox is dumb enough to know who his owner is, right? And the donkey's dumb enough to know who his master is and everything, right? And we're gonna talk about the donkey a little bit today too, since that's the sign of one of the parties out there. We're gonna talk about why that's the sign, because I'm sure a lot of y'all don't know that. There's a certain specific racist president that all Israelites hate. If you've been in the truth for a little minute, you know anything about slavery and stuff like that. He's on a dollar bill that starts with a number 2. And you know what I'm saying? His nickname is the whole reason why the party that he represented has the symbol that it has. So his nickname is pretty funny, by the way. We're gonna get into that. So anyway, it says the ox knoweth his owner and the ass his master's crib. Go ahead.
But Israel doeth not know, my people doeth not consider.
But Israel, the so-called Black, Hispanics, Native Americans don't know who their master is. They don't know who their owner is. They don't know who their king is, who their ruler is. You know what I'm saying? But they're not even trying to consider it. So this is what I'm trying to tell you, right? So hold on a second. Okay. Anyway, shalom, bro. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So a lot of our people just have to realize and understand that we, as a people, already have a ruler. We already have a king. We already have somebody over us, right? But a lot of our people aren't. A lot of our people, you know what I'm saying? They're not realizing that they have the Most High already. They already have a Yahweh Shai. They have a king already, right? But they're
Con.
looking for somebody that's going to rule over them and fight their battles and take all their problems away in America. That's why they keep voting, right? They voted for Obama because they thought he was going to change their situation, change their condition. It didn't happen because he wasn't up there for that, right? The Bible's going to tell us that. And they're doing the same thing this year with, either Trump or Biden. Some of them are thinking that Trump is going to help them out. Some of them are thinking that Biden's going to help them out. And you see which way people are going distinctively, right? And they're giving you the reasons why they're saying this. And a lot of it has to do with their prosperity and their way of life either being changed or diminished in some way, shape, or form, right? So these things are the things that we have to realize and understand at all times. Go ahead and give me Sirach chapter 17 and 17.
Con, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 17 and verse 17. For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people.
Say it again.
But the Lord's Con. For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But Israel is the Lord's portion.
Right. So the rulers of the earth, right? Everybody already has a ruler. The Most High gave every like all of them a king. Each of them can do elections and choose who they want to have. But we already have somebody. We have an everlasting ruler. He's not going to change, right? So we're the Most High's portion. What are we doing, right? Go ahead.
Con, verse 18. Whom, being his firstborn, he nourished with discipline. So like he nourished it with discipline, and giving him the light of his love, doeth not forsake him.
Mm-hmm.
Come, verse 19. Therefore, all their works are as the sun before him, and his eyes are continually upon their ways.
Right. So our people, right? Our people, it says that for in the division of the nations, the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people, but Israel is his portion. Whom being his firstborn, we all know that he's the first, that we're the firstborn of the Most High, right? That's Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. So we're the firstborn, and he nourishes us and disciplines us. How? With the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Us breaking them gave us the situation that we're in now, having to go for crackers and stuff, thinking and hoping and wishing that they're gonna help us out, having to vote for Egyptians, and are they giving us this gay marriage and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the type of stuff that's going on in America. So and then he says, and giving him the light of his love, right, which is the law, statutes, and commandments, does not forsake him. Right? Go ahead. And then therefore all their works are as the sun before him. Okay? So he sees everything that we're doing. Everybody who's going out there to vote, he sees that, right? So go ahead.
Come, verse 20. None of their unrighteous deeds are hid from him, but all their sins are before the Lord.
Mm-hmm. So none of their unrighteous deeds are here before him, and all their sins are before the Lord. Most of you are like, well, how is voting unrighteous? We're going to get to it right now, right? So we are the same that we always been. Give me Baruch chapter 3, verse 8 right quick. We're the same that we always been. And we're in the situation that we're in for a reason. Exactly, bro. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Only thing we're supposed to be doing is that, right? And that this whole voting thing goes against that, right? So go ahead, keep going. Shout out to Cameroon. Shalom, sister. Oh, brother.
You on Baruch right now?
Huh?
You
Yeah,
on
Baruch.
Baruch? Kind. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity,
Right.
where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers.
Right. So he's put us out here to be a curse, right? and to be subject to payments for all the iniquities of our fathers. Why are you thinking that you're going to have an elected official that's going to give you anything other than that? Right? There's a reason you're here. Don't the Most High control everything? So if you're here to serve a punishment, you think he's going to give you a president that's going to relieve your punishment for the whole nation and the whole nation is doing wickedly? Does that make any sense? You got something to say? Go, Rob.
So they go into they say, pick somebody that's gonna make your situation better. Well, that's what they look for in each selection, at each election. But in the verse it says he scattered us here for a reproach and for a curse. So we're gonna be here punished. We're gonna be here in a bad position. So what you trying to elect somebody, a heathen, to make your situation better? The Most High made your situation this way in the first place.
Right. Read the rest of that. Why else are we here? Reproach and curse.
And to be subject to payments according to the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord God.
Right. He said that Israel don't know their owner, right? The ox knows its owner, the ass is master's crib, but Israel don't know and they don't consider, right? Our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. All of that is being destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Now the lack of knowledge, it goes as far as us being destroyed because we don't know who our master is now. And we're looking for one. Looking for somebody that's going to help us and save us. We already got a savior coming. We're supposed to be following the law, statutes, and commandments to make him come quicker. But instead, we're trying to vote for one of these other guys who are trying not to allow us to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? So these are the things that we have to understand. Coming off rip, out the gate, right? We're here for this, to be a reproach and a curse and subject to payments of our forefathers for departing from the Most High our God. We're not going to get anything other than that as a whole, right? Maybe certain individuals that get something different, right? The ones who coming into the law, statutes, and commandments to keeping the faith in the Most High, and like Yahweh. But as a whole, we're supposed to be getting our behinds whooped in this captivity, right? Even us in the truth get our behinds whooped sometimes. So these are the things that we have to understand. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. Something else to prove why we're here, right? Now that we read that. And we all understand that no matter where you are, right? Whether it's the United States or the people in Cameroon, right? The brother in Ghana, the folks in Japan, folks in Europe, right? Folks in India, wherever they at, folks in South America, Mexico, right? Wherever you scattered, you in the land of your captivity. Go ahead.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 9. The thing that have been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun.
So that which is done is that which shall be done. There's no new thing under the sun. The same way that we acted now is the same way that we acted back then. And we're going to prove it. The way that we're so eager for a king to change our problems and to take all our, or to change our condition and take all our problems away. It's the same thing we wanted back then. We asked Samuel for it. Samuel begged the Most High to make him change our mind, but he said, nah, that's what the people want. That's what the people get. Right. Try to prove on them and explain to them, that it ain't going to work out. But see what happens. And then we're going to get into it. Y'all going to see what happens, right? There's no new thing under the sun. Keep going.
Verse 10. And is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? Right. It have been already of Salaki.
No, keep going.
It have been already of old time, which was before us.
Right. It had been already of old time, which is before us, man. The same spirits that's on the earth now is the same spirits that's back in the day. The people that's in the truth that can't stop watching the election and can't stop just getting all enthralled in it, gotta go vote. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Same spirits back in the day. The people who, even when it comes to just regular stuff in the truth, the people who are trying to do their best to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, the quote unquote law of Moses and the faith of Hamashiach Yahweh, they are, the same spirits from back in the day that try to do it. The people who are going against that are the same people who in the Bible went against that back in the day. It's the same thing, right? Same spirits that back on the earth. It's the only thing under the sun. Can't say nothing is new because it had already been of old, right? So check this out. First Samuel chapter 1 verse 8. 8 verse 1.
Con.
It's the book
It's
of
a,
first
Con, go ahead. Go ahead, Dora.
book of First Samuel chapter 8 and verse 1. And it came to pass when Samuel was old that he made his sons judges over Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Now the names of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second Abiah.
Mm-hmm.
They were judges in Beersheba,
Right. Read more smooth, a little bit faster, bro.
Salakia. And his sons walked not in his way, but they turned aside after Lucre,
Lucre.
Lucre,
Mm-hmm.
and took bribes and perverted judgment.
Right. So they took bribes and perverted judgment, right? Similar to what the same thing that our politicians and our rulers do right now, right? These are basically like politicians. Think of them as that. They're our judges, right? So they're the politicians right now, right? And they were elected by their father's family. You know what I'm saying? On some big bush, little bush stuff. You feel me? No? Go ahead.
Right.
Verse 4. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Raham and
Uh-huh.
said,
And
Behold,
no, and Salakia, no, I'm not comparing our ancestors to the butchers. I'm just saying, just to put that out there, because I know some of you wicked Negroes is gonna try that. Go ahead.
Khan. He said, verse 5, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations.
Do what?
Make make us a king to judge us like all the nations.
Right. Make us a king to judge us like all the nations, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what they want. They want somebody that's gonna judge them, right? Why? Go ahead. Read verse 6.
Come, but this thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people, and
Yeah.
all
What's
they to be.
like it? Why is Samuel praying to the Most High? You know what I'm saying? He's praying because he already knows that us having an elected official over us and not really just putting our trust and faith in the Most High and following the law, statutes, commandments, the feast days, the whole Constitution that He already gave us. This thing, right? So if we ain't using this, it's like, why are we here? You know what I'm saying? What's the purpose of us having this whole nation that He gave us and everything like that? He's gonna make it crumble because the whole purpose of Him choosing us was for us to follow Him. Now we're asking to follow somebody else that He created in the nation that He chose. That don't even make no damn sense, right? That's like there being a king in the country, and one of the servants of the king get chosen by the other servants to be their king, and the servant don't have no type of merit or anything like that he's shown that he could be a good king or anything. They just asking for one. You know what I'm saying? When you've got the king here who's proven, you know what I'm saying, he's most high, created everything, but you don't want him to be the king. So this is what Samuel's praying for. Go ahead.
Come. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people, and all that they say unto thee, for they
Mm-hmm.
have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me. And all that
Right. So he said that they rejected the Most High, right? They didn't reject Samuel. So he's like, don't feel bad about how they treating you and the kids and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It ain't you that they tripping over. They're tripping over me. Just to put it in layman's terms for you, right? It's me that they're disobeying, that they're disrespecting here with this decree to have a king rule over them other than myself and the judges that I've elected. I'm already giving y'all judges. Now you want a king? Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? That's how he's feeling. Most High got feelings too. We made it his image, right? How you think this works? Go ahead.
come, that I should not reign over them. Verse 8, according to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day.
He said what? Say that again.
Con. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day.
Keep going.
Wherewith they have forsaken me and
Right.
served gods.
Wherewith they have forsaken him, right? So they forsook the Most High. We forsook the Most High. We're the same people, right? So these are the things that we have to understand. I'm gonna keep saying that because it's almost like we don't understand it.
Right.
We have to have these conversations with our people, right? We destroy for a lack of knowledge. We lack the knowledge of this understanding, so we have to give it to you. It's part of the milk. So it's like, you have to straight up understand that us as a people, we had a chance to just have the Most High ruling over us. You know what I'm saying? Take the judges that he was going to give us, and then the king and David and Solomon. You know what I'm saying? But didn't go like that. We asking for kings early in the game, right? He gave us stipulations before in the book of Deuteronomy before this, so that because he knew this was going to happen. And up to this point, we're following the stipulations. But the whole reason he let this happen was to show us, if you guys want somebody to rule over you, I'm gonna show you how bad things are gonna get, right? And how you having a carnal person that you're following is gonna get you put in a situation where you have no choice but to fall as a nation, because this carnal person is not gonna be perfect enough to lead you in the right direction. That's what the Most High was there for, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have needed to choose us for anything. He would just told somebody to do this. He would just had Abraham or Noah, right? Go out there and just have a couple people follow him and create a little church and call it a day. And whoever follow. But it didn't go like that. He picked a whole nation of people, right? So this nation of people was expected per the things that we went over in the past. I don't remember what the video was called, but damn, I can't remember what that video was called. But we went over this stuff in Exodus about how we agreed and basically made a covenant and a decree. It was about the covenants. But how we basically made a decree with the Most High and, basically agreed to follow him as our king, as our Lord and our Savior. And here in Samuel, we're asking for something different already. Samuel's during the time of the judges. It's not too long after Moses. You know what I'm saying? So, keep going. Go verse you on.
Verse 8, like I'm at the end, and serve other
All right,
gods.
Yeah, keep reading it. Read that all the way through. Quick.
The whole started at the top of 8.
Yeah, go ahead. Just read it all the way through.
According to all the works which they have done since the day I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto thee.
Right. Keep going.
Verse 9. Now therefore hearken unto their voice. Howbeit ye protest solemnly unto them, and show them the matter of the king that shall reign over them.
Right. So protest over them, right? And show them the man of the king that's going to reign over them. So the Most High is like, show them what's good, right? Show them how this guy's going to act. And in a way, you have the same situation that's happening this year, right? Now let's compare it to the current situation that we're in, right? Today, on this 3rd day of November, right, 2020, there's going to be an election, right? I think it's going to start at like probably 8 p.m., 9 o'clock Eastern time, something like that, right? Where they're going to start the polls and all that type of stuff. They're going to start looking through to see, counting the votes and all that mess, right? People going to be fighting at the bar and killing people on the streets, and race wars is going to start tomorrow, supposedly, and all type of stuff supposed to go down, right? So in the midst of all this, what's going on with Israel? Israel is in line right now at this very moment, all around the United States, waiting to punch the ticket and vote for the orange man or the almost dead man. You understand what I'm saying? Who's it going to be? Who's going to win? So, let's go. Yeah, just keep reading. Let's see what the Most High has going on.
Verse 10. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked him for a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots.
Right. So he's giving them now like certain type of bad things, certain negative qualities that the king is gonna have. Right. He's trying to, like, in a way how brothers try to wake you up with fear. Right. He's
Mm-hmm.
basically trying to strike fear into the people, bro. You really gonna want a king? These are the things he's gonna do to you. You know what I'm saying? All your kids gonna have to join the army. Go ahead.
Verse 12, and he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over 50.
Mm-hmm.
Will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his fields, and to make his instruments of war, and his instruments of his chariots.
Right. So these are the things he's gonna do. Right. He's gonna make them instruments of war. He's gonna make them soldiers. Right. Which automatically should ring bells into the parents' minds. Oh, we're gonna lose some children. But Israel, being the stiff-necked people we are, where's how we got this place? That's fine. They don't care. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 13, he will take your daughters to be his confectionaries.
Oh, so he's trying to he gonna flip the switch. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the war thing ain't work. He's gonna take your daughters and make them thoughts. They are gonna be his women. Right? You ain't gonna have no control over. If you try to do something, he's gonna kill you. Go ahead.
To be his cooks, and to be
They're gonna cook him food, they're gonna be his bakers. They're gonna do whatever he wants. Right? Go ahead.
he will take your fields.
He's gonna take everything that you have, right? You an Israelite. We're a nomadic people at this time, right? Our whole livelihood is our fields. Your wealth was based on what you had regarding your fields and the animals you had and those type things, right? It wasn't so much gold and silver and dollar bills. You know what I'm saying? So he's telling you now you're not gonna have no wealth. He's gonna take your fields. Go ahead.
And your vineyards, and your olive yards, Salakia, even the best of them, and give them to his servants.
Right? He's gonna take the olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants, man. So he's gonna take all your stuff and basically make it tributary to the people that he's gonna put over. A tribute, a gift. All right. So he's gonna make you tributaries because they're gonna be your fields. You're gonna be giving them crops and all that type of stuff, right? You're just gonna be tending your field for him, basically. You're gonna get to live there, but it ain't gonna be your stuff, which is a curse in Deuteronomy chapter 28, by the way. Right. So keep going.
Verse 15, and he will take the tens of your seed and of your vineyards, and give to his officers and to his servants.
Right. So he's gonna take more of your stuff, right, and give it to his own folks. Come on.
And he will take your manservants and your maidservants and your goodliest young men and your asses, and put them to his work.
So he's gonna take all the people that work for you that make your life easier and make you do all the work that he wants you to do by yourself. He's gonna take all the people to make them his servants, his peasants, right? So you ain't even gonna be the nation above all people anymore, because you're gonna have folks that you was over that you're no longer over. You at the same level they are. All of y'all work for this other guy, right? That's what he's trying to tell them. Go ahead.
Verse 17. He will take the tens of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. Salaki.
That's more your wealth, right? That's him telling you straight up. You ain't gonna have no fields or no sheep. You're gonna be straight up servants. You might as well go back to Egypt. Right? That's basically what he's trying to tell them. Skip to verse 19.
You said 19?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel and said, Hey,
keep going.
But we will have a king over us.
Come on.
That we also may be like all the nations.
Come on.
and that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles.
That's what they want, right? Nevertheless, all that stuff he told them, oh, we don't care. It's cool. Yeah, all the other nations got to go through that. We're supposed to be different than the other nations. Ain't that what Deuteronomy 76 say? We're supposed to be different, separate unto himself above all people on the face of the earth. You know what I'm saying? Holy, you know, that word, set apart. Feel me? But what? We straight up said, nevertheless, you know, the people decided not to obey his voice. They said, humbug. You know what I'm saying? Nah, we good. We gonna have a king. He gonna rule over us, just like all the other nations. He's gonna go out and fight our battles, right? Is that what happens now? Does the king that we have, that we elect every 4 years, do they ever fight our battles?
No.
That's the question I want to know. Do they ever do that? Has that ever happened? Even when we had the brother, right? Did he fight our battles? The so-called brother, the one hitting the 3-point jumpers with that ugly shot, with the knocking jumper. You know what I'm saying? The Ethiopian shot. You feel me? So, I mean, if he didn't do nothing for us, he looked like us. You know what I'm saying? Did Bill Clinton, the black president before Obama, did he help us with anything? Anything? Is there anything y'all can think of? Because I was too young to remember anything Bill Clinton did. I ain't gonna flex. But, you know, I never hear nobody talking about nothing he did for us. You know, Bush didn't do nothing. I was here for that. I mean, I was here for Clinton too, but I was young. You know what I'm saying? I know Obama didn't do nothing. I was here for that. Lost a couple friends during Obama's term. Right? One of my homeboys got beat up by the police on television in Gwinnett County at a traffic stop. It made the news and everything. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, he didn't come to our rescue. He didn't do anything spectacular. He actually called us criminals. Said some of us, you know, deserve to get our eyes beat, basically. Some of us act like that. Okay? Some of us strike fear into the hearts of these scrawny little bald white guys and their big old mustaches and their sunglasses, and they need to shoot us because ain't nothing else they could do to protect themselves. You know what I'm saying? He didn't say all that, but he alluded to it when he said, you know, some of us are criminals. And, you know, basically need to be handled accordingly. So Biden and Trump they're worse than he is when it comes to the racial stuff, right? So it's not even a better decision, and the so-called brother didn't even do nothing. So the question is, you know, are there any battles that y'all really think are going to be fought by the guys that are, by one of the men that will potentially win tonight, or in a couple weeks, or whatever it is, however it go, right? Do y'all think any battles are going to be fought for so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, like they're saying? Huh? Only battle they're going to fight is they're going to legalize marijuana, so that more of our people could be docile. They're going to let the folks that's in jail docile out of jail so they could be in public docile. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right? They ain't teach them how to be productive in the prison system. So they're going to let them go back out. They're probably going to do something crazy. They've been in jail for so long over something stupid like cannabis. And they're going to put themselves right back in there. Because that's what they used to. Right? So all these things that they're telling you that's supposed to help our people is just going to be another illusion. That's what's going to happen. It ain't really going to help us. Which brings me to Lamentations chapter 4. Give me verse 1. Uriah, get that.
It's the book of Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 1. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street.
Mm-hmm. So
the
look.
Precious. Oh, Salak.
How have we become dim, bro? How is the gold of the Most High become dim, right? You know, Hitler called us the Jews of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows who we are. Why are we not shining no more? It's because we disobeying him. We're not following his law, statutes, and commandments. Keep going.
Verse 2. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, hard they esteem as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter.
Mm-hmm. That's what we were, bro. But now we dim. We're supposed to be the work of the hands of the potter, right? The most esteemed people on the face of the earth. The most prestigious people. The meek, right?
Uh,
The white, the pure. That's who we're supposed to be. But we're not, because we're trying to be like everybody else. Just like we showed in Samuel, right? We want to be like all the other nations. We said it to Samuel twice. After telling him no, right? No, we want to be like all the other nations. We want to be like them. Mm-hmm. We don't care about this power that we got. No, we want to be like them. We want to join their economy. We want to be part of their stuff. You know what I'm saying? No autonomy. Nobody trying to separate. It's always let's vote for their guys. Now we have enough money to put our stuff together and do our own thing. There's a lot of land that they didn't even use in America. We could just go and start our own stuff. Dollar finna crash anyway. You go start your own stuff. Start a bartering system until you create a currency. Trade goods like we were doing in Israel. We didn't have no currency. We used to trade animals and stuff like that. Give people lots of land, all that type of stuff, and we're selling stuff. Trading goods. Bartering system. Right? Not a currency system. Now it's a currency system. You don't have to use that. We could become autonomous and go do our own thing. You can find 100 acres in Georgia for $37,000. I found 100 acres in Georgia for 10 stacks. You just got nowhere to look. I ain't gonna tell you about that though. So I'm saying it's ways that we could it's ways that we could go out there and get things done, but we're not, we don't have the mindset to do it because we're too busy trying to be like everybody else. We're not thinking for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We're letting them do all the thinking for us, which is what this election really showed me. Because instead of I ain't got no skin in the game, no cat in the game. It's, well, you gotta vote for the lesser of two evils. That's the catchphrase for 2020 now when it comes to the election, right? Lesser of two evils. What do you think is the lesser of two evils? Trump or Biden? You have people saying Trump, have people saying Biden. We're even separated on that, right? So when are we gonna get to the standpoint where we get the mindset of let's become autonomous, let's go do our own thing, right? Because as long as we're depending on them, this is what's happening. Verse 16, right?
It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, and verse 16. The anger of Yahweh have divided them. He will no more regard them. They respected not the persons of the priests. They favor not the elders.
Go ahead.
As for us, our eyes have yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us, yo. You know what I'm saying? We have watched for a nation that ain't saving us with nothing. What are they doing? We still getting killed in the streets. It was a brother that got shot in, what was it, Pittsburgh? Something like that? What was it? The brother that got killed, the young brother. I think it was Pennsylvania somewhere. I feel like it was. I wasn't paying attention to it. I didn't even watch the whole story because it's like, it's no point. It's happening so often now. I don't need to see another one. You know what I'm saying? But that just happened. So why are we thinking that anything's going to change for us here? They could still just kill us in broad daylight. What's the deal? When y'all going to get the mindset like, hey, yeah, there you go, Philly, 27-year-old, the water chill will. So that's what we have to understand, right? How is anything going to change if that's still happening just like a week or two before the election? right? They ain't changed the statistics before the election about every 28 seconds a brother getting killed by the police. Somebody just died right now,
Right.
somewhere, right? By the hands of the cops. So how is it that we in this situation and still going out there voting today and thinking that anything's going to change after the fact? That to me is, it's like that class Judah did. Are you insane?
Hmm.
We looked up the definition of insanity, what I'm saying? And explained to y'all how, insanity is doing things over and over and over again, thinking that the outcome's gonna change. How long have Negroes been voting? When they give you the right to vote? Let me see. We're gonna look it up. When did black
I think it came with
get
13 before the
right?
referendum.
Nah, they lying about this. I mean, the real. I ain't talking about the voting rights constitution. Talking about like when did we actually get a chance to vote? Because they weren't really letting us vote to like the 50s or the 60s, bro. 1965 Voting Rights Act. Okay, so here we go. Let me put this up. I ain't even gonna click on it. I'm just gonna show it briefly. So look, it says they passed by Congress right in February 26th of 1869 and ratified on February 3rd, 1870, the 15th Amendment, which granted African American men the right to vote. But we're gonna watch a video in a minute where Abraham Lincoln himself is telling you that he wants only educated so-called African American men who either fought in the war for the Union or are educated free men to vote, because these educated free men were expected to do the same thing that the quote-unquote educated free African American studies and Black studies teachers at these different colleges and universities that CNN and MSNBC love to have on their show. These educated Black men and women, quote-unquote, are supposed to always vote for the party that thinks like the Democrats nowadays. Right before it was the Republican during this time. Now it's switched to the Democratic Party because of a man named John F. Kennedy. Right. So, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But these are the things that I want you guys to see, right? And then if we scroll down a little bit, it explains to us that you really didn't get a chance to vote until 1965, right? So about 58 years, something like that, 56, 57, 58 years, we've been allowed to vote. So for 55 plus years, we've been sitting here voting year after year after year, seeing them try to stop us from voting year after year after year, coming up with new ways to only allow certain Black people to vote year after year after year, right? The guys that have been in prison can never vote. You know what I'm saying? Certain people that can't read or write very well can't vote. In some states, if you can't read or write very well, they make you take a test still in 2020. And if you don't make the test or pass the test, you got to pay a tax before you can vote. Some of them don't have the money to pay the tax, so they don't get to vote. Did y'all know that? 2020. But people still try to vote. Like, and they go on TV and tell you the vote counts. The vote counts for the people who get a chance to vote, and the vote only counts for the electoral college. It's not actually none of the stuff that you're voting for, as far as what you want, as far as what's on the ballot. They don't count none of that for the Negroes, Hispanics, or the Native Americans. Right? Only thing they're looking for is whose name you put on the ballot. All of the other stuff, the tax laws and who you like what you want to happen with the Board of Education, all that type of stuff that they be putting on there, the extra stuff, where you want your water system to be located or redrawn at, if you want the school districts to be redrawn up and remapped out so certain kids that are at this school don't go to this school no more. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the right to change none of that stuff. Your vote doesn't count towards none of that. They only looking for the name that you put on the ballot that could go towards the electoral college of either your state or for the your state for the actual federal election. So the primary, so to speak. And you know what I'm saying? And the presidential. After that, they don't care what you voted for. It don't matter. So these are the things that a lot of people don't know, but we're going to prove it. Abraham Lincoln himself, the first Black president, as they call him. Why? Because he's supposed to be the one that gave Black men the right to vote and free the slaves and all this type of stuff, right? He said specifically, Only ones that need to vote is the ones that's going to vote for the union. In a nutshell, he didn't say that specifically, but he said, I only want the ones that fought in the war, which they fought in the war for the union, right? Or they're educated black guys like, what's his name? Douglas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Frederick Douglass, right? The dude who helped out Abraham Lincoln with the letter that he made and stuff. So unless they're educated black men like him who are supposed to be, the NAACP, WEB, Du Bois, Coon, Cracker, the Boule boys. We did that lesson. If you ain't seen it, go watch it, right? These are the people who that would become, the educated black people, the gatekeepers, so to speak, right? These are the ones that they want us to vote for. And these are the ones that they want. These are the people in our community whose vote count, so to speak, is what I'm trying to say, right? They're the people who represent the electoral college for the black folks in every district and stuff like that. These elected officials on this end. This year, I know the one in Georgia that's big on it. That's trying to get into I believe, the Senate. Her name's Angela Stanton King, right? She's big on this type of stuff. She's also a Boule member, straight out of jail. Ironically. So, I seen her with the pen. But moving on. What verse you on, right?
Verse 18.
Read that.
This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 18. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets.
Mm-hmm.
Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come.
Right. So we're looking for vain help from people that still hunt our steps. Right? You feel what I'm saying? We're looking for vain help from people that still hunt our steps and are hunting our steps right now. Why would you think them people are going to change any situation for you? They're using you to pad the vote. That's why it's so important. We got to get the black vote. Black people got to go out and vote. They got 5 different black news reporters and stuff at every single news station now just for the election. Just so that the black news reporter could be the one to say, black people go out and vote. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. Because they're using you to pad the votes for the election. They don't really care about your voice. They just want to know who you're going to vote for to help the electoral college in whatever way that they want it to be helped. And the media is going to express that to you, right? In the election 4 years ago, they didn't want black people to vote. It was black folks don't vote. Hillary Clinton didn't do nothing for you. Trump is racist. Now it's black folks vote for Biden. All of you. You're not black if you ain't voting for the B man. You know what I'm saying? Black and Biden go together. You ain't black if you don't vote for me. Correct? So keep reading.
Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 19. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They lay wait for us in the wilderness.
Right? They pursued us upon the mountains and lay wait for us in the wilderness. Go ahead.
The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of Yahweh, was taken in their pits.
Right. We got people in the pits right now. People that they're having to tell you we're going to let them go as a result of whoever wins the election. You know what I'm saying? Trump trying to let some of them go. Angela Stanton King was a result of that. That's why she's running for Senate, right? He let some of them go early last year or whatever. And now Biden's promising to let the people who was locked up for weed go. So they put us in the pits, and now they're promising to let us out if we vote for them. You see how ironic that is? It's a bribe, people. But why are we too dumb to understand that? Go ahead.
The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of Yahweh, was taken in their pits, of whom said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen.
And that's what we're doing. We're in the shadow of the heathen, living among the heathen. That's really what it is. Really in the shadow of the heathen. And they ain't letting us out the shadow. They're keeping us in the dark. All right. So, that's it on that. Rest of us going to talk about Edom being, destroyed and all that stuff, but we already know what the get down is on that, right? So, just some precepts to put with what we just read, right? About how low we've gotten. We ain't gonna read them, but y'all could get them. It's Deuteronomy 28:32 and Deuteronomy 44, and Deuteronomy 28 and 43 and 44. 32 being how, well, go ahead. I'll read them right quick. One of y'all get, somebody get Deuteronomy 17:15. Because now I got to show y'all what it is that he told us in the stipulations that he gave us for when we're picking somebody like this, right? But just to give y'all a couple precepts, a little bit of milk. Deuteronomy 28:32 says, "And thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long, and there shall be no might in thine hands." Right? This is basically the deal. You understand what I'm saying? For the Hispanics and stuff like that, a lot of their children have been given to other people, and that's something else that they're putting on the ballot, right? To save us, right? To help the Northern Kingdom get their kids back is what Biden's plan is, and Trump is saying that he's still working on it, and that the kids in the cages down there being very well taken care of, right? And to some people they're gonna be cool with that, and to some people they're gonna want the Biden thing. So they're trying to appeal to both sides. There's a side that care about the Hispanics, and there's a side that don't care about the Hispanics. You understand what I'm saying? So these are the two ways that they're trying to appeal for it. And Deuteronomy 28:32 at this time applies to the Hispanics and the people that descend from us scattered abroad, like in Africa and Asia and stuff like that, that are going through this as well. So, and of course, 44, right? It says, "The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low," right? So that's what's happening. We're in a very low state right now. The reason why is because we're in the shadow, right? And we're living amongst the heathen, following the ways of the heathen instead of following the ways that the Most High gave us. So let's get Deuteronomy chapter 17. A lot of people on Facebook been posting this today, so we're gonna break it down anyway. I know they ain't breaking it down. We're gonna break it down a little bit, so folks actually understand what's actually being spoken about here. Go ahead.
Now it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17 and verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shall thou set king over thee.
Look, so one from among thy brethren, that's the first stipulation, right? Is Biden a brother? No. Is the orange man a brother? No. Right? So, strike one. Go ahead.
Khan, thou mayest not set a stranger over thee,
Oh,
which is not thy brother.
so that really could be strike two, but there's more strikes to get, so we're gonna let that slide. That's strike 1, 2. Go ahead.
Khan, verse 16. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt.
He shouldn't multiply horses to himself or cause the people to return to Egypt. Donald Trump is a billionaire, right? He got all type of land, all type of stuff. He didn't give it to nobody. He take people land, right? He kicks black folks, so-called Negroes, out of their apartments and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So that he could go build banks and skyscrapers and stuff like that, right? Here's your $30,000, make you think that you're getting something good because you've never seen $30,000 at one time before because you're from the hood. You know what I'm saying? And then once you wake up, you realize, hold up, he just got my whole house for $30,000. And then you find out that they did an appraisal for the house after you moved out, and the house actually appraised for like $350,000. He got away with murder, basically. You know what I'm saying? You want to go shoot yourself in the head because you're like, damn, I just gave this cracker that money, and I could have got a lot more. That was the tale. That's how he made a lot of his money, getting over on us specifically as a people. But a lot of our rappers and stuff like that are telling our people to go vote for him. You know what I'm saying? Rappers who just a minute ago y'all thought was in the truth. Cube. Cold Cube. I ain't gonna call him Ice Cube. He's Cold Cube right now. You understand me? He's telling our folks to go vote. Y'all still think he's an Israelite? His beard getting bigger? Ice Cube white. He's growing his beard. Ice Cube been a Muslim since '92, you Negroes. He got a song called "They Won't Call Me a Nigga When I Get to Heaven." And he's dogging the Bible out the whole time because he's a Muslim. So there you go, right? And a lot of these people who y'all follow, the music y'all listen to, they're all big old Farrakhan nut riders anyway. Excuse my French. So these are the things that we have to understand, right? These people who are following Farrakhan aren't going to give you the correct way to go and the correct instruction as far as the Bible and anything that the Bible says in the first place. But you're following them and taking heed to the things they're saying, and they know that our people are going to be the ones dumb enough to do that, right? If Cardi B goes out there, I've had arguments on Facebook, right? I've said something about Cardi B in the election, and women from our nation have clapped at me, quote unquote, right, for saying, she don't know what she's talking about, and she's not somebody that should be speaking to our people because she's not intelligent enough to do that, right? She's not somebody that should be a figurehead, so to speak. Right. But they made it okay for her to be that. That's what happened. So we got to understand that. You know what I'm saying? Why did they make her a figurehead like that? Because they know that whatever views she's going to spew out into the people is going to be attractive to a lot of young minds, right? And even some old minds, because some old minds are very well influenced by the media and them type of people too. And if these older people get involved in this type of stuff, they're going to pass it down to their children. And if children get involved and they're old enough to vote, they're going to just make their own decision. That's what they want, right? But they're trying to appeal to the people like Derek age. How old are you, Derek?
20.
See, he old enough to vote, right? You only got to be 19 to vote. 18 to vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. Yeah, because I think I voted my first time at 18. I was in high school. They had They had ballots at my high school. They had a ballot box at my high school for the 18-year-olds to go vote at lunch. I remember now, right? I know the baby just had a high school vote thing at his high school that he went to in North Carolina. Yeah, all the high school kids going out there to go vote. These are the things that they're doing because they're trying to make our kids pad to vote. They know a bunch of black high school kids is going to vote for who?
Biden.
Who they going to vote for? Biden, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's who they going to vote for, right? So they're using you to pad to vote. They know that when you go on TV, you've heard bad things about Fox and stuff because your mama's a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? Daddy a Democrat, whichever one of them that watch the news. They tell you don't watch Fox. When you was like 5 years old, you never watched it. Right? So then when you want to watch the news, only channels you're going to go to is CNN and NBC. They condition us to be like that. So then when we grow up, Democrat. Vote for the one that's going to have your best interest. What's your interest? Welfare, free weed, legal weed. I said, what else they got? Healthcare, right? What's some things that the Democrats do? Y'all gotta help me out, because I don't mess with it.
I can't help.
Yeah, I can't help you. Y'all mess with these.
Politics.
Many of us know nothing about this election because you ain't supposed to mess with it, man. That's just what it is, right? But it's like these type of things that they put out there for us, right? Yeah, Section 8, there you go. All the things that make you dependent on government assistance, right? That's what the Democrats are. They want us to be dependent on that type of stuff, right? And then you got the black folks who think they woke up because it's like, oh, the Democrats want us to be dependent. We're going to be Republican because they want us to be independent. But then the Republicans don't want to give you anything. They want you to be independent, but they're the ones that's telling you no when you go get a job and you're trying to start your own business, but you need a job to, make money to start your own business and to maintain the business that you started. But they don't want to give you the job because they know that you're trying to start your own business, right? They know that you're not going to try to work here forever. What we need to give you the job for? You got a certain type of resume to give you the job because they know that the job that you're looking for, that $15 minimum wage is going to be something man, I used to get paid $10 at my job. $15, y'all going to pay me $15? Then you trying to work there forever. You trying to get that raise to $21. You going to work there for 8 more years. And when they get you to 8, right? You want that raise to $21.86. So you're going to work there for 8 more years, try to get that raise. And within the 8 years, they only going to raise you up to $17.98. And they're going to tell you on the 9th year, we're going to give you that raise you want to 21. And then when it comes to the 9th year, they're going to say it's going to be the 10th year. The company has some problems, coronavirus, right? Then the 10th year going to come, crash happened. Year 11. Look for 12 maybe. You know what I'm saying? 2025. You're going to keep chasing the bag. Like Jadakiss said, it's going to grow wings. It's going to keep flying from you. Right? Because that's what they want. This isn't a society where you're supposed to thrive in. Unless you're following the law, statutes, and commandments. Because what? The law sets you free.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want to hear that, though. They don't want to hear that. Nah, that law is Moses. They don't like Moses. Keep going. They don't like Moses.
God.
I think you're on 17.
Nah, I ain't finished 16. You want me to start at the beginning?
Read it for as much thing, because you read the multiple horses part.
Okay. For as much as the Lord hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way.
So we're not supposed to go back into Egypt, but we see that we're still in the land of captivity.
God.
Go ahead.
Neither shall ye multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold.
Now, another thing you got to keep in mind, right? These things don't even apply to somebody that's a stranger or not your children or your people. So we really don't even got to read the rest of these, because we already know that the two people involved right now have nothing to do with us as far as them being a brother.
God.
Right? They already broke more than just 3 strikes you out. We'll use American baseball rules, right? Huh? So they on like strike 6 right now.
Bingo.
They've been gone, right? 2 batters. We knocked both of them out. Trump and Biden. They both lost. 3 strikes for both of them. And we still got more strikes to go. We go into verse 20. If we was going to finish it. You know what I'm saying? So this is a chapter for y'all to bring to the people. Let's jump to verse 19.
Verse 19. And that shall be with him, and ye shall
read verse 18. You got to read that.
So like 18. It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 18. And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book, out of that which is before the priests, the Levites.
All right.
Verse 19. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life.
That's what the king's supposed to do. King's supposed to keep the law of Moses and read it, and just keep it next to him, close to him, in his heart and mind, all the days of his life. Right? We know Trump don't know nothing about the Bible. Huh? He'll say 1 John 2 and 5. Matthew's 55:11. So, and Biden's a Catholic. So, only thing biblical he believes in is Mary. Everything else he believes in is rape, rob, and murder, literally. So, because that's the Catholic Church. So, I mean, rape, rob, and murder, molest, rob, and murder. Sorry, but that's the Catholic Church. So that's what we have to understand, right? These are the things that they do. So we know neither one of them. I think is Trump. Well, was he Catholic at some point too? Wasn't he?
I have no idea.
Yeah. So they both don't know that, right? It's clear. But these guys didn't fit not one of the things that the king or the person who's supposed to rule over the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they don't fit not one criteria that the Most High gave us biblically. So they're already supposed to be, to the left. You feel me? Because ain't nothing here for them. Ain't nothing that they could do as far as being righteous to us already, because they're a stranger. All right? They're going against what the Most High put down as a criteria for our ruler already. So there's nothing that's righteous that's going to come from either one of them.
Simple.
That's what you got to understand. On top of us being here for, captivity, us being here for reproach and a curse, to be subject to the payments of our fathers, right? Yeah. Listen to the system. Romans chapter 13, verse 1. Let's prove why there'll never be a good thing for us as far as the presidents, right?
So Romans 13:1.
Yeah, Romans chapter 13, get verse 1.
It's the book of Romans, chapter 13, and verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
Right? So everybody, every soul, right? Whether you're Israelite or not, you have to be subject to the higher powers, and you shall be subject to the higher powers. So you're going to listen and obey whatever they say, because the Most High gave every nation a ruler, right? Israel's
Con,
supposed to be his portion, but he gave every nation a ruler. And now he's put Israel in captivity under every nation. So now we all have a ruler as well, right? He's subject to captivity. And he's telling us that we're going to be subject unto the higher powers. Go ahead.
for there is no power but of the Most High.
All the powers out here are of the Most High God, right?
Con,
Whoever wins this election tonight, whenever the results come out, God is the one that chose it. He's the one that wanted it to happen, right? All the results is from him and his plan for us, because we're his portion. Go ahead.
the powers that be are ordained of the Most High.
The what?
The powers that be are ordained of the Most High.
Damn. So Most High put Trump in office. Oh,
Con,
okay. Most High gave us Barack. Oh, okay. Most High gave us stupid Bush and stupider Bush. Oh, okay. He gave us the big cheater, Bill Clinton. Oh, okay. Right? He gave you the Ronald Reagans and the crime bills and all that stuff that you guys don't like. Most High shot the president. Right?
right.
Who killed Kennedy? You want to know who killed Kennedy? The Most High killed him. Right? That magic bullet. Right? So these are the things that people don't get for the most part. All the powers that be are ordained of God. If you believe in a cabal, if you believe in the Illuminati and all that stuff, right? What's that thing that they got now? QAnon. If you believe in all that stuff, you got to understand that whatever you believe, as far as the government and the powers that be, they're ordained of God, the God of the Israelites. So-called Black, Hispanics, Native Americans, and the people of Negro and Indian descent scattered abroad. Go ahead.
Verse 2. This is Romans chapter 13, verse 2. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High.
This also involves the police. So in a way, you could say Barack was right. Only in the standpoint that he said, some of us end up getting what we have coming because we didn't agree with our adversary quickly. That's a command, It's in the scriptures. You don't agree with that cop, Most High might make him pop. You feel? Right. That's how it works. So you got to understand, all the powers that be are ordained by the Most High. Right? So whatever happened to you in that moment is because the Most High wanted it to happen. Go ahead.
And Salaki out of one. That's like Christ said in Matthew 5, right? Agree with that adversary quickly. Because like we uproar, we tired of seeing our brothers and sisters getting gunned down in the street. But when you're using wisdom, a lot of that could be avoided, right? If our people was to come back to these law, statutes, commandments and read this book, you will see that all that woofing off at the police is unprofitable. That's a vain thing to do, right? It's like the scripture just said. You ain't resisting the feds, you resisting the Most High. He said, I'm gonna send an enemy over you, and you're gonna have to go to this man in one of all things. So you resisting what God has ordained over you already. You just I ain't accepting what God's saying. You tripping.
You see? Send this video to your people, man. The ones that's in line right now in the dark with their coffee and they outside chairs that they bring to the kids' baseball and football games. That's how serious it is, man. They got hot dogs and they tailgating and everything. I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? The white boys got their big old trucks on. I'm in the South. I'm in Georgia, so the white boy. I'm I'm in the rural part too. I ain't in the city like a lot of the other brothers. I'm in Grace. It sounds like a white place, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm out here. You got to understand. It's a lot of it's still dirt roads out here where I'm at. In some
Yeah.
places, in horses and buggies.
We.
I'm real serious about that. It's a horse and buggy trail right behind my house, like just probably 2 streets over. You feel? And they
Come.
still be on them horses and buggies with the KKK signs and the white hats and all that stuff, right? So 2020. So I'm like, y'all gotta understand. A lot of these people are gearing up right now too,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's what the government wants to happen. Everything going on. Whoever won the election today is going to be based off of what the powers that be wanted. And what the powers that be wanted is what the Most High wanted.
Come.
Keep that in mind. Keep reading.
Come. I'm gonna read verse 2 over. Book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 2. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation.
And if you resist, you might die, bro.
Come.
That's why you're supposed to agree with your adversary quickly. But we've seen in a lot of these instances, the reason why there's so much outrage, we ain't do nothing to not agree, right? Breonna Taylor was in the bed. The other brother was running for his, getting some exercise.
Come.
Ahmaud Arbery, right? George Floyd was trying to get something to eat. They mistaken his dollar bill for fraudulent or something like that, or a check was fraud or something like that. I think $20 bill or something. And he got choked out by his partner from the club. You know what I'm saying? So this is the stuff that's happening to us. It's all ordained by the Most High.
Right.
But a lot of that, everything I just mentioned, wasn't us resisting. That was just them, showing that perpetual hatred.
That's right.
That's what happened too. But you also have to understand that's all part of the Most High. It's ordained of God. Right? Go ahead.
Come. Verse 3. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil.
Yeah. And Botham John, right? Was sitting on the couch eating ice cream, watching football. He got shot to death in his crib.
Come.
Trying to see what white lady walked in his house with a gun. Right? So RIP to them people, man. But look, what does it say? The rulers are what?
The rulers, for rulers are not a terror to good works,
So
but to
all the rulers that the Most High puts over us are not a terror to good works. But to what kind of works?
to the evil.
Yeah, to evil works, man. And not only them, but all the people that descend from them, all the people who are part of their administration, whether it be the police officers and everything, right? All the people that follow them in their ideology, because all the cops work for the president, to be real
Right.
with you. You know what I'm saying? He has an attorney. What's that head cop? What was Colin Cop? What was Colin Powell?
I
What
forgot
was
the
his
title.
position? Whatever his position was, right? He's like
General.
the police officer, right? And his job is to relay whatever the president wants to all the other police officers. We see the ideology that Trump has laid out there, which is why the cops act the way they do now, right? But we also see that the way they act now isn't too different from how they were acting with Obama and Biden being president, right? Because Biden was also a guy who introduced the crime bill. He don't like niggas either. Excuse my friend. So these things we gotta understand. We've seen the proof. Most I showed us. Ain't no new thing under the sun, right? They're telling you on the TV and the commercials, Biden did the healthcare bill. Biden did this. Biden did that. Almost like Obama wasn't even the president, which is what we all knew in the first place. He was just a puppet to pad the votes. He's a basketball playing, weed smoking African white boy from Hawaii. He ain't worried about y'all. Why do you think he's just now showing his face? Right? Because now it's crunch time and you need the black vote. He's here to pad the election. He show up all year, but now he's here. You know what I'm saying? This is their tactic. It's because the rulers are not They ain't here for good works, right? They're only here for evil. They're a terror to good works. You know what I'm saying? Good works is scary to them. It don't happen.
Yeah, con.
They're the opposite of good works. If you see some good come from a president of the United States or an elected official of the United States, it's because they're an Israelite and they woke up. That's it. We know that ain't gonna happen. So you ain't got nothing to worry about. Go ahead.
Con. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that
Mm-hmm.
which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same.
Right. So it said that the rulers are a terror to good works, but to evil. They're not a terror to good works, but to evil, right? It says so. With that being the case, with you guys knowing that, will you not be afraid of the power?
Hmm.
That's why we get scared when the police lights come on behind us, right? They don't even be going after us. We see the lights and they already stopped the dude, and our heart's still racing. We be looking back like, all right, I'm make sure he's still not gonna try to get mama. You know what I'm saying? Because we scared of the power. That's how it goes. The scriptures will come to life if you read them. All right, so look, we're gonna play a little video right quick. Derek, hold Sirach 13:8. I mean 13:3. Let me pull this up. I want to show y'all something right quick about this voting thing. I think it's this one. Here we go. Here's one. All right, let me see. Let me see if it's gonna be stuck. All right, let me play this video clip right quick, real short. Not even gonna play the whole thing probably, but I want y'all to hear what Lincoln's gonna say in this video, in case y'all ain't ever seen this movie, right? Just to give y'all a taste, because the whole point is that I've been trying to explain to y'all how we're just a tool for the election. And Lincoln, the reason why it's good to always go back into history is because if you go into the history, you always find out what the real purpose of them using whatever they use now. You know what I'm saying? You find out what the purpose was back then because they came up with these plots that they have now back in the day, right? The things that they're doing now aren't things that they just thought of. Most of the things happening in America now were thought of and planned out 60, 50 years ago. You got to understand that, right? Esau's a cunning hunter. He's very meticulous with his things that he does. He's trying his best to keep his nation alive. So with that being said, this is exactly, you know what I'm saying, how they feel. And it's a little history of the voting rights, right? And this is put up there by New York Times, so you know it's like public information. Take a look.
In this scene from the 2012 movie, Abraham Lincoln spells out the terms of Reconstruction.
All they heard was the first time any president has ever made mention of Negro voting.
In 1865, he said freed slaves who were intelligent or had served as soldiers should be allowed to vote. The 14th Amendment, passed in 1868, guaranteed this right as part of the full citizenship accorded to African American men. But for much of the 20th century, voting remained a contentious issue. The 19th Amendment, ratified in 1920, gave women the right to vote, but the racial divide remained. Some states continue to live.
Okay, so hold on. So I'm trying to stop it. The computer did some weird stuff. But as y'all can see, or as you heard, right? Lincoln basically straight up said that he only wanted intelligent black folks to vote, right? And folks that fought in the war, as I said. And he said, the guy specifically said that this is what was drawn up in the 14th Amendment. So many of you think the 14th Amendment just gave black folks the right to vote, but a lot of you have never read the Constitution and all that type of stuff. I had a black teacher in 7th grade. I can't remember her name for the life of me. I think it was Miss Campbell. But she's from Georgia, and she's a history teacher. And it was 6th grade. And she basically, made us read the Constitution. And I got to see things that I didn't really understand at the time, but now that I'm older and I'm doing the research and stuff, you know what I'm saying? I get to see these things. And we had tests where we had to read the amendments, you know what I'm saying? And all of that type of stuff. And she gave it to us real. Like it wasn't no made up, sugar coated version of what the amendments say. It was like what they actually say. And
Right.
listen to what the guy said here. He says specifically it involves what Lincoln wanted, that they put in this amendment to confirm the right to vote for black men. So
Negro voting. In 1865, he said freed slaves who were intelligent or had served as soldiers should be allowed to vote. The 14th
So only the ones that were intelligent and served as soldiers. If you've never served as a soldier, right? Because soldiers got some form of education, they had to be taught how to read so that they could learn the things that they were, having to be taught as soldiers. So they formed some form of education. If you can read, you can teach yourself anything. So uh, these people who served in the army were technically considered the ones who were of high educational stature. If it wasn't them, then it was the people like Frederick Douglass, you know what I'm saying? Those type of folks. The ones who showed that they were studied, went and taught themselves how to read, or were taught by a slave master themselves to be the people who would become the gatekeepers and stuff like that in society. A lot of their slave masters, they don't tell you, are people who are already big in society in the states that they were in. So a lot of these folks that they teach you about in school, these black folks, during Black History Month that were slaves, that were taught how to read or taught themselves how to read or whatever, the ones that were taught on purpose. And if you go and look up the slave masters, in about 90% of the cases, their slave master was somebody of high stature, high rank in the society, who was going to put that person in a position to win and succeed. Hold on just a second, let me play this out.
14th Amendment, passed in 1868, guaranteed this right as part of the full citizenship accorded to African American men.
So it only guaranteed the right of full citizenship to the African American man that fought in the war or was considered intelligent. If you weren't this type of man, even though you had full citizenship, you weren't allowed to vote. This was the first stipulation that was carried out from 1968 and was then finalized in 1868 and then finalized in 1870. And then from there, it was carried all the way out until 1965, along with other things that they brought out to stop us from being able to vote. So give me Sirach chapter 13, read verse 3. Hold on just a second. Let me go wipe this. Go ahead, read. And when you get it.
Khan, it's the book of Sirach, chapter 13 and verse 3. It reads, the rich man have done wrong, and yet he threateneth withal. The poor is wrong, and he must be entreated also.
All right, keep going.
Khan, verse 4. If thou be for his profit, he will use thee. But if thou have nothing, he'll forsake thee.
All right. So look, the rich man, right? He has done wrong, and yet he threatens withal. So he has the power, even though he's the one that's doing everybody wrong and stuff like that. He still has the power to make other decisions. You know what I'm saying? Almost like the Gates thing in the coronavirus. And then it says, if thou be for his profit, right, he will use thee. So let's put it in perspective, right? Why is Abraham Lincoln even giving black people the right to vote? Do y'all know this, according to history? Huh? He was giving us the right to vote, specifically because most of the black people who were going to be allowed to fight in the war at this time were the ones that were in the Union. They were going to use us to fight against the Confederates because the Confederates weren't allowing black people to fight in the war at the time. Once they saw that we were fighting in the war up north, that's when they started allowing us to fight in the South. And some of them were running to go choose who they wanted to fight for and leaving the plantation. Some of them were fighting for the slave master, all that type of stuff, right? That's how you get those type of divisions. But it started with Abe Lincoln, allowing us to fight for them and be free if we fight for them. And the result of us winning the war would mean that we would become free, which gave most of us more like, oomph to want to get the job done and fight for the white man. So that's what happened. We fought and we won. So they used us, right? And what does it say? if thou be for his profit, he will use thee, right? There's no men that were richer than the slave masters in America. They're the ones who, got wealthy off of the backs of our free labor. So it says, but if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee, right? Let's look at the people that have nothing, right? The ones who can't vote, the ones that are unintelligent, right? The ones who can't read, can't do anything for themselves, whatever, right? Can't start their own business, can't make a letter, whatever it is. These people are the ones who they don't want, they don't need. So, they'll forsake those people. Today, the type of people in those situations are the ones that, go to jail, get locked up, have felony records. They don't want those people's vote.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They don't want nothing to do with that. This is the type of stuff that's going on right now, yo. There's no new thing under the sun. If you think that is new, just know that it had already been of the time before. That's how this works, man. So, keep going.
Con.
Verse 5.
Con. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bear, and will not be sorry for it.
If you have anything, he'll use you to the point that he make you bear and he won't feel sorry for it. All right? They got you voting right now. You've been at work all day. You're in line voting right now because you think that what the guy's promising you is going to happen. And when it don't happen, you're going to say, well, we know what's going to happen. It never does. Why you vote? Right? It make no sense. Go ahead.
Con. Verse 6. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee, and smile upon thee, and put thee in hope.
If he have need of thee, he'll go and give you hugs at the little rallies that he's having, right? And smile upon thee and tell you that all your stuff's gonna be okay while the camera's rolling and they're taking pictures of them that they can put on CNN and NBC. Right?
That little Edomite smile.
Yeah, with the little Edomite smile. He'll shake your hand and turn around for the picture. You know what I'm saying? With the big chin, big cheeks. Go ahead, Gat, if you want to put something, put it down. He said cognitive dissonance. But yeah, that's really what it is. Because they're using us, right? And they're thinking that it's like with the smiles and the little faces that they put on, it's gonna attract us in a way, oh, he's nice. He's not like the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then it puts you in the mindset, oh, he's gonna be different. But then he gets in office and you remember, oh, he smothered Obama too. He was getting killed on TV for the first time. Obama's office was the first time I seen a man get shot on the head. I get shot in the head on Facebook. I ain't never seen it. I didn't think it was possible. Seen a man die on Facebook. Just clicked on the video and the man get his whole head shot off. Like, you know what I'm saying? While the black man is president. And it happened multiple times. The brother who was running away from the cops and got killed on the by the cops, shot in the back all them times. He was on Facebook. That was Facebook Live. You know what I'm saying? So it got to the point where we getting killed on social media now, right? What's First Maccabees 8 and 16? Let me see what that say. Keep reading what you got.
Con. And smile upon thee, and put thee in hope. He will speak thee fair, and say, what wantest thou?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 7. He will shame thee by his meats, until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice.
Until he has robbed you dry twice or thrice, right? And Joe Biden, if he get in, he's gonna be twice. Really thrice, because he was a congressman, all that stuff, senator, and all that mess too. So it's like he done robbed you a bunch of times. He only going to the places for rallies, except for Atlanta and stuff like that, and I think Carolina. But all the other places he went to was white states and white areas. where the Catholic folks be at.
Bring it up.
You know what I'm saying? He wasn't out there with y'all, smiling and shaking y'all hand. He was making Camila Harris go do that. And she ain't even a nigga. Excuse me, French. Right? She's a coolie. Mooly coolie. Correct? A mooly coolie. He's a Windian. White Indian. That's all she is. She got one black ancestor, and it's a mitochondrial one. So she don't have nothing to do with us. She's another stranger. And our people are trying to elect her because she's from Jamaica. Y'all know that she's from Jamaica, but she has a whole slave port named after her family, right? A whole province. The biggest province over there, other than Kingston, is her province that her family had both sides, mother and father side, because both of them got white dads and stuff, on her mom and her dad's side, even though they look Indian and black or whatever. They both got white grandparents. So these people are actually, they the slave masters. And the land that they owned is the second biggest province in Jamaica. I can't remember what it's called. It's called like the King Bush, or I forget what it's called. Harris. No, it's not the Harris. It's a different last name. But whatever her father's her grandma's father's name is on her dad's side. That's the whole family's plantation day. And somehow the name got changed to Harris. So she's not really a black woman. And they're playing the race card to try to get us to what? Pad the vote. That's how it works. So I want to get the precept that the brother brought out. First Maccabees chapter 8. I think it was 16. I got it. Yeah, I got it here. It says, and they committed their government to one man every year, right? In this case, it's 4 years, right? And when we go into the history of elections, it does basically go back to the Greeks. They had elected officials that they had, you know what I'm saying? And they had terms for them, just like we have terms now, ironically, right? So it says, and they committed their government to one man every year who ruled over all their country, and that all were obedient to that one, and that there was neither envy or emulation among them. So that's basically what America wants, especially Trump. You know what I'm saying? But that's what their whole goal is. And they're telling you that more and more as every election comes. They want us to be a melting pot of people that are happy-go-lucky, whether you're pedophile, molester, gay or straight. You know what I'm saying? They want us to all be joined hand in hand in kumbaya, 24/7. Coronavirus and all. That's how they want it. But we know better. So let's get. Let me finish the video.
But for much of the 20th century, voting remained a contentious issue. The 19th Amendment, ratified in 1920, gave women the right to vote, but the racial divide remained. Some states continued to limit voting, either through measures like the poll tax or direct intimidation of African American voters. In the South, there
and they still have this going on today, right? This year, the direct intimidation was that white boy that they put on the Facebook saying, "Hey, if Trump wins, it's all good, But if Biden wins, hold on. If Biden wins, it's gonna be a war. Oh, it's on, right? Ain't that what he said? In my best honky tonk voice. So, if that's how they feel, that was the direct intimidation. That was their effort, right? And they had other videos like that all through 2020, even through the coronavirus. If Biden wins, it's going to be a race war. So now people are expecting that. Mom's called me, don't go outside tonight. Don't be out late. They're going to be trying to kill people. So it's like that's the intimidation factor that they're trying to put out there. And to a lot of folks, it's going to be like, well, I'm just not going to vote. So I ain't trying to get caught slipping. I know whole stations here in Georgia where they went up there and they was asking. It didn't make the news, but they would ask, because I heard about it from people at the job I worked at, white folks. They go and ask when they go to the polls. So everybody here voting for Trump, right? And if you say no, they either kick your ass or kick you out. It's not making the news, but it's happening right now in Georgia. So these are the things in places like Warner Robins over by Macon and stuff. So in Winder, Georgia, at the poll stations. So these are the type of things that are happening, but it's not making the news. They still have these same intimidation factors right now as we speak, right?
There were even white-only primaries. This is Sam Tannenhouse of the New York Times. The first modern Civil Rights Act was signed by President Eisenhower in 1957. It created a federal commission authorized to enforce voting rights. Senator Strom Thurmond
Authorized to enforce voting rights. Why are they trying to enforce voting rights now all of a sudden? Because now it's enough intelligent black people, right? As Lincoln wanted it. Either it's enough black people that went to the war, because we just had World War II, I believe, right? Or we were getting ready for it. Nah, we were getting ready for Vietnam. So we already had World War II. So we're back from the war now, right? And people are trying to, they know we're intelligent. What was the two stipulations that Abraham Lincoln had? Either we're in the war or we're quote unquote educated black folk that are allowed to vote. So Eisenhower, right after the women are allowed to vote, now the only people who are encouraged to vote, and it being enforced encouragement, is for the ones who went to war and the ones who are educated. If you weren't one of those two groups, you weren't going to get to vote even if you tried. But if you were one of those two groups, it was enforced because now you're being included in the votes for the Electoral College. Why does it keep doing?
conducted the longest filibuster in history, more than 24 hours, in an effort to thwart the bill, but it passed.
The location for the meeting with Senator Rivers.
Still, voting was not equal for all. Massive resistance in the Deep South was organized to keep blacks from the polls, and legal enforcement was hampered by all-white juries.
So look what they got, right? You see the white folks in the crowd with the black folks, right? Because they're trying to show unity and solidarity. This is the newly forming Democratic Party at the time, right? That all the black folks were supposed to join. Kennedy's dead, and what's the dude named, the big nose white boy that came after Kennedy?
Bill?
I just forgot his name. He was on the dang screen a minute ago. Not Eisenhower, but the other one. But he'll come back up. But that guy, after Kennedy died and Kennedy got all the black folks to turn into Democrats and stuff, the dude who took over after him, that was his vice president. I still haven't thought of his name. But that brother, or not brother, that Edomite, basically made it, legal for us to vote because it was already being enforced by Eisenhower, who's like 2 presidents before him. So
Voting rights became central to the civil rights movement.
I think this march will go down as one of the greatest.
In 1965, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. led the march from Selma to Montgomery for better voting laws. The nation.
Right. So now you see, the civil rights movement was mainly about the voting laws and how they were going to be enforced so that black folks could get a chance to vote and that their vote would be counted in the Electoral College so that what Eisenhower was trying to enforce would be now a law. But they teach us in February, the civil rights movement was for us to get equal rights. No, it was for us to get an equal right, which was to vote. And it ain't even an equal right because they still hinder us in some way, shape, or form if you fit the stipulations to be hindered. Which means what? You're getting played.
Right.
Was shocked by images of the marchers being attacked.
And then,
In less than 5
you know who that guy was, right? That was getting attacked? He just died recently. They had brothers like Elijah Cummings and John Lewis, who got their behinds whooped and then got to become public officials, right? Forever until they died, literally. Why are these people who are hated at this time, but then ironically caught on camera while they're getting their behind whooped and then get to become public officials for the rest of their life? These are the same people who were already down and the top people in the movement with Martin Luther King, who we showed was a Boule member and a gatekeeper. Worked hand in hand with the government to, give us the ideologies that we have today as the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American people on the Democratic side, right? That's what his whole job was. And after he was killed, they gave him 2 lieutenants that were going to help him run things from the congressional standpoint or the Senate standpoint. That was the John Lewis and Elijah Cummings. And then they have the religious standpoint because, Black folks are very religious. So they give you the Al Sharptons and the Jesse Jacksons. There's no new thing under the sun. It's just like the people in the book of the Maccabees that wanted to, join the way of the heathen, because without them, you know what I'm saying? Let's get it. I don't want to misquote it. First Maccabees. Yeah, in those days, this is First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11. In those days, went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, "Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. Let us go vote for whatever they want us to vote for, right? With the heathen that are round about us. And since we departed from them, since we have departed from them, we have had much sorrow." Let's just, do what they want us to do, because everything was cool during slavery. And then we had that Black Wall Street, so now they hate us again. So let's just, be civil and get that one right that they want us to have and vote every year. And when we have a problem, let's just march. That's what we're going to do. Hello?
being attacked. And less than 5 months later, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act of 1965. It barred states and districts from curtailing the vote on the basis of race, color, or language.
There he is.
It is wrong.
See, I only know his name when I see his face. That's Lyndon B. Johnson. This guy is the one who did it, right? Kennedy was supposed to be the guy, but Kennedy got killed because Kennedy wasn't following orders. So they took him out. And they put his vice president, the second man in charge, right? The right hand, Lyndon B. in charge. Lyndon B. said he's going to follow the rules. So the powers that be took out Kennedy. They left Lyndon B. there. And now Lyndon B. is the one who made it legal for us to vote and gave us the quote-unquote right that Martin Luther King fought so hard for, right? And then when Martin Luther King tried to put the cat out the bag about what was really going on with us, they killed his behind too.
Deadly wrong to deny any of your fellow Americans the right to vote in this country.
Sections 4 and 5 of the bill.
So notice, in the Constitution, we're 3/4 of a man, 3/5 of a man. But now, on national TV, we're fellow Americans. Right? It's the hokey doke, guys. You ain't fellow nothing. You're still a nigga.
Included special provisions to ensure fair voting practices in a number of states, most of them in the South. Voting rights advocates say some citizens there continue to be disenfranchised.
So look, that's where we're going to start the video. It's 2020, and the same thing that was happening to us back then is still happening now. Was you trying to come back in? You took yourself out?
Nah, it was an accident.
Oh, but come. So these are the things that we got to get right. Same thing's happening. They just told you before I cut it off that, right now, voting rights activists are saying that Black folks still got the same problem, just in a different form, in a different way. So if that's the case, like, why is it that we we in a situation where we feeling like anything's gonna change, right? That's a delusion. Give me Sirach chapter 3, verse 24, right? And there, give me 2 Thessalonians 2 and 11. We almost done.
That's the book of Sirach, chapter 3 and verse 24. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion.
Mm-hmm. Many are
And
what?
many are deceived by their own vain opinion.
Many are deceived by their own vain opinion, man. Why are they deceived and how are they deceived, right? Because they go out there thinking, well, if I don't vote, then things gonna get bad for America. Things
Mm-hmm.
are gonna get bad for America, period. You ain't ever read the Bible? You don't know what's going down with Babylon the Great? Sodom, Egypt, and Gomorrah? You know where you living. You ask the Christians, they tell you this is this is this Babylon, Sodom, Egypt, all that,
Right.
yep. But then it's like, okay, after that, what happens? So you believe that this is the place that the scriptures talk about, but you don't believe the things that the scriptures say is gonna happen is gonna actually happen? Seriously? So it's like at some point we gotta get real with ourselves, man. You messing yourself up, and it's your own vain opinion that's doing it to you, right? A lot of them would have woke up by now if it wasn't their own vain opinion, right? That's with everything. Come to them waking up to the scriptures, your own vain opinion is making you think that God loved everybody when that's not in the book. Well, why would he create these people if he don't love them? Nah, Romans 9 and 20. But they don't go read that because they don't want to. They'd rather live off their own vain opinion, right? We don't got to follow none of the laws. We in a new covenant. The Bible don't say that. It says in those days. You won't have to teach your man or your brother. Won't be no more milk Mondays. No Sabbath lessons. But we on the corner every Saturday teaching the Sabbath, and we in a new covenant. You know what I'm saying? It's their own vain opinion. There's no new thing under the sun. Same spirits. Even people in the truth. Right? Go ahead.
Said, for many are deceived by their own vain opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and an evil suspicion have overthrown their judgment.
An evil suspicion has overthrown their judgment. Right? The guys who don't believe in the Mashiach Yahweh, their evil suspicion is that he was made up by the white man. So it's overthrown their judgment. The guys who think that we're in the new covenant and that we're, not following the law no more or whatever, they think that Mashiach Yahweh actually did away with the law, statutes, and commandments, even though he never said that. So it's, overthrowing their judgment. The people who think God loves everybody, even though the Bible don't say that, and it tells you exactly who he loves, you know what I'm saying? And that even the people that he chose, he don't even love all of them completely. He only loves the ones that are keeping his law, statutes, and commandments of his own people that he chose, right? But the ones that think otherwise, it's because of their own vain opinion. They rather believe what they think and not what is actually written. That's how it works, right? Even when what's actually written only applies to them, they're one of the people it applies to, they still don't want to believe it because it means that their friends aren't going to be included.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says we're not even supposed to have friends that aren't, your friends, your brother, your sister, your mother is supposed to be the people that follow the law, statutes, commandment. You ain't supposed to have a friend that's a stranger. It's not possible, technically. If you're in the truth, if you have the world, you can have a friend that's anybody. But if you're not of this world, then you can't have a friend that's anybody. Your friend's supposed to be the other people that's not of this world. But our people don't think like that. That's why we're destroyed for lack of knowledge, right? So what I want. Give me 2 Thessalonians 2 and 11. Because of their vain opinion, the Most High then gave them a whole lot of this. Go ahead, Doc.
It's the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2 and verse 11. And for this cause, God gave them, and for this cause, God shall send them strong delusions.
He's gonna send them strong delusions.
that
Go ahead.
that they should believe a
So
lie.
everything they believe gonna be a lie. And you know what the strongest delusion is that they have? They own vain opinion.
What?
Con.
So I told you, the strongest delusion that you get sent by the Most High is your own opinion. It overthrows your judgment. And a lot of y'all have the opinion that, Trump or Biden's going to do something good for your people. The thought of that is an overthrown judgment. You feel? Because there's no proof of such. So, give me Colossians chapter 2 and 8.
It's the book of Colossians,
And all right, give me Ecclesiastes 12 and 13 and we finish.
chapter 2 and verse.
The election, get your popcorn ready and stuff, you know what I'm saying?
The book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy, vain deceit, after the traditions of man.
Well, what?
After the traditions of man.
Wait, didn't we read in Maccabees chapter 8 that year after year they chose somebody? Damn. See how it goes full circle, guys? Huh? Any way you look at it, any way you cut it, any way you slice it, any way you dice it, you sin it by voting for Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Only thing that's not a sin is sitting in front of the TV eating popcorn and laughing once the results come out and hearing your neighbors scream next door. Oh!
They don't want to hear that.
I can't hear my neighbors. Too much distance between us, but they're gonna be outside shooting if Trump wins. I promise you that. So keep reading. So beware lest any man spoil you with the philosophies of what?
Philosophies and vain deceit.
And what?
After the traditions of men.
What's the vain deceit, right? Your own vain opinion. And what is your own vain opinion making you, be deceitful of or being deceitful through? That election, which is the traditions of men. Double cut. For the double cup. Go ahead.
After the rudiments of the world.
After the rudiments of the world, right? The things that they do. We're supposed to not be of this world. Revelation has told us to come out of her, my people. Choose none of her ways, that you don't partake in her play, right? Why are we choosing her way of electing people? Right? It's the main way she have right here. This is the way of democracy. Go ahead.
And not after a Mashiach.
And not after a Mashiach, man. Who were ignorantly caused Christ. Dang. That's an easy scripture, but it's like it cuts you here to the bone. Right? Give me Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Here's the conclusion, man. For those that ain't caught on to it yet.
That's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High,
right?
And keep His commandments.
Fear the Most High and keep His commandments. Because what?
For this is the whole duty of man.
No, the whole duty of man is to go vote for whoever it is, the lesser of two evils.
Keeping the commandments is the whole duty of man. No,
it's not. Your duty is to go out and vote. Ain't that what the church say now? Everybody's sign say that, right? But what the Bible say?
God said, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
Whole duty, man. That's right. A1. Me too. Me too. So,
A1.
I'm not saying I was going to go over the history of the Democratic Party and stuff. I'll just give you a brief synopsis. So, Andrew Jackson, right, was nicknamed Jackass, which is a donkey, and he became president. And they didn't have a symbol yet for the party because he was the first president of the Democratic Party after the Whigs and everything were dispersed. So they gave him the symbol of a donkey because his nickname was Andrew Jackass.
Mhm.
And with the elephant has something to do with the Whig Party and the other thing being put together and something like that. So just a little fun fact. But yeah, man, y'all didn't seen Trump and Biden rap against each other. Y'all didn't seen all the stuff y'all saw all 2020 about the election. You watching commercials like right now, probably. You know what I'm saying? So just send this to your people, man. I know they're probably not gonna listen to it this year, but at least they know for the next 4 years, right? If we still here. If if Biden win and Kamala Harris don't destroy the earth and stuff, and we have another election, or if Trump win and him and Putin don't get into a fight and all that stuff, then you know this is something that they can look forward to in the next 4 years. That'll help them out. Yeah, we don't like Andrew Jackson. He's the Trail of Tears guy. That's correct. So yeah, that's the lesson, man. Hope y'all were edified. Uh, next week, what are we gonna talk about next week? It's either gonna be baptism or the Persian Mede captivity. I gotta look at the paper to see which one. I can't remember. But whichever one we're talking about, it's gonna be the other one the week after that. So the next 2 weeks you got coming baptism lesson and Persian Mede captivity. So tune into that. And yeah, man, that's it. Hope y'all were edified. We are the Sons of Thunder Israelites. It is our prayer and heart's desire that all Israel might be saved if they don't vote for none of these crackers. And they keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High with the faith in the Mashiach Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All right. Give all praise and honor to the elders and the people and the brothers and sisters that's teaching this word in sincerity and truth. Shout out to all of y'all that's trying to keep the commandments and keep the law and not teaching up we the new covenant and lying to the people. Continue to do what y'all doing. Continue to strive for the truth. You know what I'm saying? Continue to stay strong out here. That's it, man. Y'all stay safe out there. Don't be out too late today and tomorrow with the results of the election, whatever, however it go. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all stay safe. Use wisdom, and you know, call me Asherallah. Take the kingdom. Shalom.
Shalom.